Hey guys, how you doing? It's Chris here. I've just hit 60 days pretty recently. Kind of having some cravings and things, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to release a video, try to redirect some energy. So basically I want to talk about the top 5 strategies that I've been using to hit 60 days. This is the longest that I've been in the last year and a half, trying to get to 90 days. Still hoping to hit 90 days. So we'll see how that goes. So if you're on this journey and you're interested in what I've been doing, let me just go through the top 5 things that I think is important to keep you on the path and not to relapse. So the first one is a really strong why. So this is important when we look at things like SMART goals. You have to have a very strong why. Why is it important to you to actually do this? Because if it's not important, there's no point actually doing it. So you've got to ask yourself, why do you want to do NoFap? Why do you want to give up porn? Why do you want to give up masturbation if that's what you want to do? Excuse me. So for me, mine is to normalize my brain's neurotransmitter and hormone release and rewire the brain's pleasure centers, to experience more joyful emotions daily, to experience deep, rich connection with others, to feel my emotions fully, to experience true love with my partner, to feel clean, pure, and wholesome as a father, to stay focused and in flow and on my passion and purpose without distraction, to have maximum performance and pleasure and intense orgasm with my partner, to feel energized and confident, to expand my consciousness, awareness, become more whole, actualized, to feel calm, centered, and at peace. So I find it pretty useful just to read that when I get cravings and I really feel like going back to that. I like just to go through the why. Why am I doing this in the first place? Because as I said, if it's not important, then don't do it. Don't do it unless it's important. And then the next thing, number 2, very important thing to look into is, what have been the unwanted consequences of this habit to date? So for me, the unwanted consequences are things like shame, anxiety, low confidence, self-hatred, depletion of minerals and lowering my health, memory issues, low energy, disgust, unethical, unmoral activity and behavior. So there's some things that I can look at a glance and then consider whether what I want to do in the next 5 minutes is going to be worth that. So on this is the next little part to number 2. What will the consequences be in the future if I allow this to continue? So, speaking from my own personal experience here, no drive for success, mental health issues, low energy, low self-confidence, shame and disgust with myself, low awareness and unconsciousness, inability to move up the stages of awakening, depleted minerals and health issues, relationship issues, sexual performance issues, low presence, feeling weird around families, unable to connect with people, and potentially no wife, marriage, children, and no happy functional family. So of course, that might sound a little extreme, and it may not be the case if I was to continue masturbating, watching porn, and things like that. But these are all possibilities. So some of them are most likely certain, and some of them are, possible. So again, that's just gives me a bit more clarity on and strengthening the whole reason around why. There's obviously a negative connotation to these things, but sometimes having the negative as well as the positive can be useful. So the next very important thing that I think you'll enjoy if you haven't done this is writing a list of triggers. So what are the triggers that actually produce, what are the cues of like, okay, now it's time for some porn, some masturbation? And when does it get really difficult to say no? That's the question. So for me, things like drinking, having a hangover. If I have a hangover, I am at very, very, very high risk of a relapse, and I know this. And because I know this, it means that I do not drink for this 90 days while I'm trying to well, it's been a lot more than 90 days, but I've reduced my alcohol and I try not to drink at all. And I'm not drinking at all for this 90 days because I know it's too high a risk. So you can ask yourself, is that a risk for me? Do I want to put the alcohol off the cards while I'm doing this? And then you want to look at what are you going to replace it with. So for me, I replace it with the San Pellegrino water and sometimes some kombucha. So I can go out drinking with people and drink kombucha. It even tastes a little bit like alcohol. It's got a tiny little bit of natural alcohol, but not very much. It's a good health probiotic. It's a nice replacement to alcohol. Another trigger might be stress and negativity. So when I feel stressed and negative, I know that I'm kind of looking for that opioid, hormone release because I feel like crap. So what do I do to avoid the stress and negativity when I get it? Or if I get it, what do I do? Things like meditation, breathing slowly, centering myself in my breath, going for a nature walk. What do you do to relax? So use that as a cue. So when you're stressed and you feel like going through the process of the porn masturbation, what can you do to bring yourself down into a more present, more calm, more loving state? And again, it's in a similar fashion, you've got this low dopamine, low mood situation. So another thing you can do, that I like to do, is listen to some beautiful music. And the latest thing I've been doing is dancing. So I'll put on some ecstatic dance music. So you ever been to somewhere where they've done ecstatic dance? So this is allowing the energy to move through very much fluidly without thinking too much. So you may be able to redirect some of that energy, which again is a point a little bit later around redirection. What do I do with my triggers around having physical sensations or somatic sensations, like even physical wood or sexual thoughts? So for me, I observe the feelings in my body. You might want to call it like videotape what's going on. So rather than reacting to it, I'll just allow it to be, and then it usually will dissipate at some point in time. And again, I like to go for a walk. That also helps. Another trigger of mine is using a laptop or just using screens at night. So for me, what I've been found is really helpful is using an internet filter. And it's not as if the filter necessarily just stops me because I can't remember my password. I could get through the filter, but just by having that second layer of difficulty in knowing that I've changed the password, so I can't just put the password in. I've got to reset my email, reset the password, go to my email to get it. And that just gives me that slight bit of hesitation around doing it because I know I put this filter in for a reason. So it makes me become more aware all of a sudden, like, okay, if I've done this filter, do I actually want to do this? Do I want to go through the process of resetting the password and all this kind of stuff? So it just helps with that, making it a little bit less easy for you to execute on that kryptonite habit. Sexual images and material, simple as, this can be simple. Doesn't have to be difficult. So someone sends me some sexual content via Facebook or whatnot. As soon as I see it, I don't indulge in it, I'll close it. So it's as simple as that. I receive it, I close it. I receive it, I don't look at it. Evenings, so being up late at night. So if you can't avoid it, so you might know the trigger, if you're up till 2 a.m., your resilience, you don't find it easy to, I personally find it difficult the later I am. I lose my ability to control myself the later it gets. So I try to go to bed before 9 o'clock or around 9 o'clock, which is the best option. And option 2, if I can't do that, then I have a strategy. Okay, I'm awake now at 11 o'clock at night. I'm feeling a bit horny and I know that I'm struggling a bit here. What can I do? All right, I can use HTP, I can use melatonin, I can use some nice music, some relaxation, some holosync or some binaural beats. So look at what you can do. to relax yourself and get to sleep as quick as possible once you're in that, you're in that state of, this could be a problem for me. Okay, so that's the triggers. So I definitely recommend looking at that, putting in what you're going to do with those cues, how you're going to action them. So when it comes to it, and as you find new triggers, because you might relapse a bit more, write down those triggers so you've got this nice comprehensive list. So another thing that I like to do is working on my values. So am I in integrity with my values by doing what I'm planning on doing? Listing out your top 10 values and then ordering them in what you believe is most important, having a description around why they're important, and then allowing yourself to anything, and this can apply to anything in your life, drop anything through your values filter. How many values does it tick and how many values does it cross? If it really isn't aligned with your values, then it's not going to feel good. It's not going to move you in the direction of your highest potential and your highest passion and awakening in life. So, and again, it depends what those values are. So it might be that you have a value of your purpose and joy and creativity and all these things which get hindered when you go through masturbation, go through the watching porn. So it's very, very helpful to have your values listed out. And finally, number 5 is energy redirection, which I really like to consider class as, for me, is life purpose. So the single most biggest thing that's helped me get to this 60 days, which again is the longest I've ever been in a year and a half, so I'm pretty happy with myself there, is because I am working on a new career in this life coaching. I want to show up with my clients while I'm doing this practice coaching with as much sincerity and honesty and authenticity and creativity and feeling abundant and be able to share in that presence with them. And I know that when I've lost the energy through semen release, and when I'm feeling I don't feel good after I watch a lot of porn, I binge, it changes things, changes the neurochemistry and whatnot. So I know this, and again, this comes to the why. It's like, okay, as much as I really want to masturbate right now, I really want to watch porn, the why of me having this freedom, this ability to travel and to have these amazing situations, amazing connections with people and change my career and help others and have this strong, passionate, loving life. I think about that and I go, man, that's just so much more important than what I want to do right now with these cravings. So it's just unbelievably important to have a strong passion, a strong purpose. So I highly recommend doing some kind of work around that, doing a life purpose course. I personally really like actualize.org's life purpose course. I've done that, highly recommend that. So what impact do you want to have on the world? That's the question, What impact, what's important to you? All right, guys, thanks so much. Good luck, and wish me luck on 90 days. I really think I need it. Cheers.